Hello.
Hi.
How you going there, mate? Nice to join.
Yeah, not so bad, not so bad. Just figuring out what's
Sounds,
going on in life.
yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. I immediately see you, and I think I really need to invest in my background.
It's been a slow purchasing of various neon lights.
Yeah, yeah. Is this the new cool thing? Because I saw Johnny has a new neon light, and yeah, that what all the
Oh
cool
yeah,
kids
that's
do.
it. Well, so Johnny's wife bought him a neon light, and we all went,
Uh,
ooh. So
okay. So basically, then we all ask our wives to buy us cool neon lights. But yeah, I get it. All right, all right. I can get on board with that new trend.
there is a danger to all the glowy lights, though. I once left it on and then wandered out, like, sort of, kind of put the rubbish out, turned around, and realized it was casting a glow into my street of this purple neon. I was like, yeah, people are going to ask questions.
Yeah, that one room that has all the glowing lights in it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get the police helicopters coming over to see what's going on there. Oh man, love it. Anyway, thanks for joining, mate. Great to have you here. And do you want to do a little bit of tell us about yourself? Tell us who you are, so the people that know home know all about you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Hi, I'm Simon. Hello.
Simon.
So Simon Whiteley, I'm a Microsoft MVP. I do data platforming kind of things. I run a company called Advancing Analytics in the UK. We're a consultancy that does mainly mix of data engineering, data science. So I spend my life doing Spark and data lakes and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
I do a YouTube channel called Advancing Spark, where I just do all of the Spark and Delta and nerdy things. And I'm a thing called a Databricks Beacon, which no one's ever heard of. Databricks kind of did their own MVP thing, and there are 13 of us in the world, and no one ever hears about us. But they did send me a little of my.
That's cool.
My Databricks Beacon official.
That's rad.
Portrait of myself that I keep looking at myself. That's levels of narcissism.
Even more exclusive than MVP. There's so few of you, right? I mean, come on. That's
well, exactly.
That's,
but
some serious stuff.
But no one's ever heard of us. We're like a secret society of people who are meant to do loud things for the community. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. So kind of when someone says Microsoft MVP, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." When you say Databricks Beacon, like I don't know. Well done. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But congratulations on that accolade. Yeah, I'm sure as it gets more and more popular, people will be like, and you can say I was one of the original one, like the Kingsman,
the OG Beacon. Yeah,
exactly.
The cool, only Beacon MVP.
Yeah, and also to add to your list of accolades, also within the data community, definitely the most famous eyebrow.
Oh, really?
I mean, that I can't really do that, but that's really, I'd say it's a trade. Exactly, it's a trademark thing. I like it very much.
It's kind of just I spent when I started doing YouTube, I just essentially just ended up gurning into a camera, through lack of any human contact, and yeah, it's just I got a lot of comments going, "Can you try and explain something without pulling stupid faces?" I was like, that's just how my face works.
Also, why do I want to do that? If I can pull a stupid face, I will pull a stupid face. Yeah.
But I think, like, ever since I was a kid, so there's photos of me, my parents are like, "Don't do your photo face." Like, if someone put a camera at me, I raise an eyebrow, and they're like, "Why are you raising an eyebrow?" And it's like it's automatic, like a string that just lifts an eyebrow up anytime there's a camera around.
That used to drive my dad crazy as well. I had a photo face. And he's like, "I hate that face." And I was like, "Well, that's a bit harsh. You hate it, by the way." And also, it's just like a thing, right? I just do. That's the face I do. Fair enough. And now you have to exactly. It's just my face. Essentially, you're insulting the way I look right now. Oh, I love it. Very cool. This entire live stream, by the way, could just be me asking you what things mean and you explain them to me. I look through your speaker profile, your sessions and stuff. I'm not really sure what that means.
Words.
What that means. Words. Tech words. Yeah. It took me. It wasn't until that long ago that I learned the difference between like a data warehouse and a lake house. And if someone explained to me, I still wouldn't really. I'd be like, just go on a YouTube channel. They'll explain to you. I don't know.
Yeah, just send them to me. Just like
exactly.
That guy ran for half an hour. Be fine.
Yeah. It's just a big place full of data at the end of the day, isn't it? And then I started reading about Databricks. They have these like Databricks train, and then I was very confused by stuff like gold, silver, and bronze. I thought that was some kind of ranking and stuff, and I was like, "What's going on there?" And now I got confused. Man, there's a whole world out there.
I'm not a fan of the medallion architecture.
Oh, see, this is one of your famous opinions that you have. Why not a fan of medallion architecture?
Opinions. I have correct facts that I share with the world. I mean, it's just naming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole medallion architect, people have been building warehouses for years, and you dump data in the first bit and you call it staging or raw or something like that. You
Yeah.
clean the data up and you call it clean or standardized or something. And then you put it in a warehouse and you call it warehouse.
Yeah.
People have been doing it for years. Bronze, silver, gold is the same thing.
Hmm.
We don't use that because we know loads of data governance teams who are like, we use bronze, silver, gold to talk about where the data comes from. You can't also use it for how clean the data is.
Yeah.
You just come up with a different name, but it doesn't really matter. As long as once everyone understands, if you go, here's my raw data, then your users go, oh, it's raw. It's going to be good. As long as they get that message, then it doesn't matter what you call it.
Sometimes I feel it's one of those things where they invent new names just so they can sell it for a little bit more. I'm not sure how that's. Yeah, I mean,
now that's what I tend to have opinions about.
Okay, fair enough. Good stuff.
Just, but it's fine. We won't go into angry opinion time. It's okay.
Angry opinion. If you want to go on angry opinion, this is like just consider it a springboard for you to go on whatever rant you want, and I'll just sit here and nod my head and it's like that sounds interesting. This is great. You know what I mean? It's fantastic stuff.
Fine.
You can rant about something. What's it like with Johnny? Come on, just he's not listening. No one's listening. Is he a nightmare?
Johnny is awesome.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the thing he needs to watch out is how much total he's talking on LinkedIn at the moment. But apart from that, he's great.
See, that's where I have opinions. Okay. I'm sure it's having the desired effect, right? I mean, I've been following his new followers and stuff, and he's all of the lines I'm sure are going in the correct direction.
Yeah, he's having an amazing effect, and actually, people look to it these days because Twitter's a lot quieter than it used to be. LinkedIn's pretty terrible at the moment. Oh, we all disagree. Come on.
LinkedIn is pretty terrible at the moment. Let's have a look. I haven't got my chat part open. Where is he? I can't find him. Sorry. Yeah, LinkedIn is pretty terrible. Terrible. Yeah, is it pretty terrible at the moment, or is it pretty good? You know what I mean? You're doing all your not shit posting, quality posting, which gets the attention, and then when you do cool stuff, people see it more.
It's clickbait, and there's nothing to be ashamed of with clickbait. It's fine. There's a reason people click on clickbait.
But he does things that I don't understand, and honestly, this is not crap. I've had to Google some of the stuff that he does on LinkedIn because I'm like, he does this thing where he posts something, and then the see more is at this part. It's like, what are you doing? Are you some kind of like magic person? And
everyone's like, that opinion is, oh, he tricked me.
Yeah. I see what you're doing there, you old trickster. Yeah, it's confusing. But I think one of the reasons I had these like strong opinions on like marketing oneself and stuff. Johnny, I'm really not having a go. Seriously, it's fine. However, I'm just so bad at it. I'm just like, how do you do it?
I'm a strong believer in it. Shock. MVP is all in for fame whoring themselves. I know. The world is shocked. But like we in the company, we just try and encourage everyone to do it. Because it's you have like graphic designers walk around, they've got their portfolio, and they're like, hey, look at all the cool stuff I've done. And it's really, you could set up a Git repo and have, kind of your code repository of all the things that you've done. But it's really hard to do that in the data world because you can't go, hey, look at all the data. Right? No, I'm not allowed to show you all that data. It's kind of.
Am I not meant to publish all of my company's reports open?
Depends on the company, depends on the client.
Oh, no. I have to apologize to my CDO about that. Oh, well. Yeah, you're right. It's tough, right? Because I mean, I have some things that I publish because it's just like all this football data or made up data, but it's time. It's very consuming. And as I say, I kind of sometimes roll my eyes at it because I'm just bad at it. It's like the same with rich people. I don't like rich people because I'm not one of them. If I was one of them, I think it'd be awesome. You know what I mean?
I do the same with LinkedIn. I mean, the only LinkedIn things I post is I made another video. Go watch the video.
Yeah.
I don't really. What I should be doing more just talking about, sharing thoughts, thought leadership stuff. When people start to do that, that's because we've had it, where we've started with a new client, and it's such a good feeling when someone goes, oh yeah, no, I've read your blog, and it's like, you know who I am. I don't have to go through and actually prove to you that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
because they're actually kind of aware of it, and it's like that's so good for people's confidence and the relationship building and giving something back to the community. So I'm all into it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel bad now that Johnny might feel I'm knocking him. I'm truly not. He's doing an amazing job at all of this stuff, and he's a truly wonderful.
What he's doing, and he should be ashamed of himself.
Absolutely, exactly. That's what I said to you before we went live. That's why we're late. We're just talking about Johnny's terribleness. Um, but you're a Power BI person as well now? Have you been? Have you? No, yeah, no.
No,
Yeah.
no, that is lies.
Yeah.
That is the Power BI cat team spreading lies. I mean, I've done a little bit of Power BI, but
Little
I'm
bit?
pretty awful, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I started my life in Viz. I was,
Okay.
building access reports in my very first job. Like every Monday, I had to turn the crank and make 100 different access reports work and send it out to the business. Old school
Love it.
BI.
Love it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just ended up fell into doing more engineering stuff. The last time I actually built a semantic model properly was in MBX, and that makes me old.
Wow. That'll do. That'll do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it was with Access, I discovered data modeling. Really, it's the first time I saw it, but it was just like such a horrendous mess. And I was like, you know what? No. My job with Access was basically deleting all the old data because there was so much data in there that nothing would refresh.
Oh yeah, the old
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. Horrible stuff. Horrible stuff. So yeah, I'm pleased I don't have to open that anymore. So, and someone said to me the other day something about needing access, and I like just had flashbacks, and I thought they meant they needed access. The probably thought, no, I need access to the thing.
Like 10 minutes later, you're still just staring off into the distance with a look of horror and the sound of helicopters. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Vietnam style flashback. Yeah. Yeah. Strange that we also use Vietnam as a flashback thing. I've watched too many movies, but you get my point. Some kind of like whole flashback situation. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's actually exactly access to access. Yeah. Exactly. That's why capitalization is so important. You know what I mean? And actually,
I've not built a proper report in anger for ages because I just ended up doing the nerdy backend stuff.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So, yeah, I needed to do maybe a bit more of that to kind of broaden my knowledge a little bit. But I'm very much, as the name may suggest, a Power BI type person. But I try to venture off into other stuff sometimes. But it's one of those things, like the industry in which I touch or that I work with. I always just kind of there's like so much to learn. I'll try and learn some of bits and pieces of this, which is why I do things like I'll start a course about Databricks, which I started in November. Then I got really sick and I haven't opened it since.
You're allergic. You had a dip in the lake and went, oh, ooh.
Exactly. Seemed interesting though. And
there's a lot to it. It tries to be everything and do everything, and like most things that try to do everything and be everything, there's bits it isn't great at and bits it's really good at. But yeah, I love it. Mainly because the world evolves. I mean, on a similar world to the worlds of access, I've built so many SSIS for like ETL pipelines back in the day, and doing ETL's changed a lot. So the whole engineering, modernizing, treating it as software engineering and building flexible frameworks, that's the interesting stuff that's changed the industry of data for the past few years. And Databricks is kind of does a lot of stuff there, which is why I like it.
Fair enough, sir. And look, I've been told that you have it. I should do your course.
Yeah.
Spark course.
He's good. He's trained on the marketing. Yes, I've recently recorded our training and slapped it online so people can go and buy that.
Very cool. Okay. Obviously we know that you're a big advocate of Spark. So I just kind of like did a bit of research about that. I was like, search read a bit this. I was like, still don't really know what it is. But fair enough. So give me your elevator pitch of Spark, mate. Go for it. See what you can do.
What Spark is? Okay.
Just to completely put you on the spot, you understand, right? This is what I do. I say, don't worry, it will be an informal chat. This is the email, and then Magetti is just kind of like, tell me about Spark. Sorry.
Can do. Yeah. So back in the day, there was a thing called MapReduce, which is something that could take a query and spread it across multiple computers, but it was really slow because it had to write data back and forth and back and forth and back and forth constantly. Spark is essentially doing the same thing. It's distributed compute. So you can give it a query, spreads it over loads of small machines rather than trying to do it on one bigger and bigger machine, except it does all in memory, so it went much faster. And it started off like you had to write a load of Java or Scala. These days you can write it in Python and you can write SQL. So you can just write a SQL query, except this SQL query can run across 600 machines in parallel. And suddenly it can scale massively or you can scale things. And so it's elastic scaling distributed compute with a fairly good optimization engine these days.
That does sound pretty cool. And at the end, you say, for more information, you can check out my course.
There we go.
Right, there you go. And I've got to bring this comment up because it was actually pretty funny. I tried not to read it, but Simon has a face for kids TV. Yeah, I
Kids
can
who
see.
want to learn about elastic scaling distributed compute. Is
You
there
could.
not a market?
I'm not sure. Like maybe if I think we're similar generation. Did you ever watch like things like Philip Schofield and stuff on kids TV in the UK? Yeah,
That's
like
it.
in the,
I need a Gordon the Gopher. I need some
okay,
kind of
exactly. The
yeah.
Duck, Good, and the Gopher, and it was called the Broom Cupboard, right?
Yeah. That
Right.
was Andy Peters.
Yes, it was Andy Peters. That's right. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, old.
Whatever happened to Andy? Yeah, it's starting to make you
Back
feel
in the day
old.
before this CBeebies nonsense.
Oh, I know. All this stuff like Coco Melon, whatever it's called these days, that all the kids are watching. I have no idea. Yeah. And we didn't have ChatGPT. Sorry, it's all about ChatGPT. I saw a ChatGPT post come up, so I had to put it
Did.
on. Yeah.
I mean, the amazing thing we did with so we were trying out, like everyone at the moment, we tried out ChatGPT to say, can we just get that to write our marketing rather than us having to actually write copy? And we did write a sales pitch for our new Spark training course, and it came out with something that sounded quite formal. It said, could you do it for toddlers? And it kept calling me Mr. Sparky. And it said, it's going to be fun, entertaining hour with Mr. Sparky teaching all about Spark. And it's like, okay. It was a little bit creepy.
Speaking of creepy, I enjoyed seeing some of your new avatars and your Twitter.
Yeah.
There was some pretty special. There was one that were only pantsless. I have to say, I agreed with that.
That was the one based on the actual photo, though. So that's we were trying it. It was like so we try and like on a Friday, gets to 4:30. It's like, hey, everyone stop working, have a drink if you want to drink, and then just chill from it. And we're just trying feeding different people's photos and saying, make this into this. And so I was feeding it Johnny and saying, make it skeletal, and oh, that was terrifying. They are half skeletal, gurning face. It's quite good. But the various different ones of me as Pixar have been
the final result is the one that you use. It's pretty good. I like it. You've updated from the old pixelated version. I keep saying I have to update my little cartoon because I have significantly more grey hair and than I used to. So yeah,
it's funny because I tweeted and went, do you want like the happy fluffy Pixar one or the one that's like electricity coming off the head and looks like there's been doing many drugs? And people went for the nice one.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is just someone just shut up. You're old as fuck, dumbass. Fair enough.
I don't know if that's you or me, but yeah, I'll happily take it.
That's fine. I think it's meant to be an insult, but you know what I mean. Fair enough. So whatever. Can someone block this person if someone there has some kind of right to do so? But I appreciate the comments. It's an open forum, and if you want to call me a dumbass, I've been called worse things, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, I generally get weird abuse in on the YouTube channel. I get all sorts of can't understand your accent. Can you please stop and actually stop pulling weird faces? It's fine.
I haven't actually. The only place I've actually been insulted thus far wasn't YouTube. It was about a video. It was someone. Actually, this Johnny saw this as well. It was I posted a video. I forget what it was about now, but this 1 second. No, that's whatever. This person decided that they were just going to call me that I was embarrassing myself because they didn't agree with my opinion on, I think it was like pie charts or something. But the funny thing is, they then posted a video, a link, sorry, to how a report should look. And I swear to God, it was the ugliest report I've seen in my entire life. It was just like horrendously bad. And I was like, I could take the insult and I could take that I was wrong if what you linked to wasn't so horrendously bad itself. So what are you gonna do? Yeah.
I mean, I almost take pleasure in just making it as bad as I can if I ever have to do it, because I know there's people far better at doing actual good, well-designed reports these days. So I just tend to go for a 3D pie chart and just make everyone cry. It's the way forward. Yeah. I like to see the pain in people's eyes as they go, oh.
Yeah. I did actually. I had this sudden urge the other day to actually make some like really horrendously, obnoxiously colorful visualizations, just for the hell of it, because it's always like I'm trying to make it nice and trying to make it like understated so it really shows the data. I was like, no, I want bold, I want fucking yellow and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so what we're gonna do. Was it Microsoft marketing? Exactly. This is because they still do have this thing, and they're like, if I mean, you're not a Power BI person, as we've established, but the marketing that Microsoft do have for their tool, when you see some of the screenshots and stuff, sometimes is pretty funny. Jeff, do you have the rights? Jeff, do you still have the rights to like block people and stuff, just so we can get this person who is now talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, which is a bit strange, by the way. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Anyway, mate, what's the on a daily basis? What do you find yourself doing? What or make it more interesting on a daily basis? What do you find that actually ends up frustrating you most? What are the challenges and that kind of stuff that blocks in your day?
I mean, I know I do a bunch of stuff these days, but a lot of it is running a company. You know, being really,
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, no, we do loads of like design workshops with clients who are trying to figure out how to build a lake and how I should do things. Most of what we end up doing is network security and how you should secure data. And people going, if you put it in a lake, then it's not going to be secure, it's not going to work, and that's just painful. But yeah, no, I just kind of love it. Most of my time I spend explaining all the weird words that we come out with, all of your Delta and Spark and Lakehouse and what are all these things. I just spend my life explaining what those things are and how they work and how you can do all the stuff we used to do back in the day, but you can do it in the new stack and it's the same. It's just the technology is different.
Yeah, fair enough. So that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, mostly it's training, drawing pictures. Spend most of my life whiteboarding.
I can't really relate to anything that comes to running a company, to be honest. So that's fair. That's just something that I've never really ventured into. Quite far, I think, from where I am. So respect for that, man, because I can never do that.
I certainly was not this grey when we started the company.
Yeah, then that was like, you start the company and then like a month later, it's kind of like when you see someone become like prime minister, and then like the next year,
And then
it's
a
kind
war
of like
breaks out,
gray.
and then you
Yeah.
see them going, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little bit like that.
Yeah. Fair enough, so.
So like pre-pandemic, like I think we started the company in 2019, I think. Jesus,
Oh
that's a
wow.
long
Okay.
time ago.
That's interesting.
And you see videos from past summit the year before, and it's just like, oh, young and fresh faced. And then post-pandemic, it's like, tired and old.
The thing is, we say this because of the pandemic, but it could have just been the passage of time that those few
Yes.
years generally
It has
just
also
do that.
just been several years.
Oh man, yeah. I was like, oh yeah, the photographs before, because I was going out more, I was doing this more, and then I was just kind of But also, I think the difference between being in my late 30s and my early 40s is just the transition of my face, to be honest. Oh man. Okay, I'm going to bring up a question by Benny. I'll clean up the chat, by the way. Johnny, thank you for telling me that person's on Twitch. I took the stream off Twitch, and I don't know why I put it on there in the first place, because no one ever watches it there. It just it's an option. I can do it. So nice to know for the future. Sorry about that, everyone. But to be fair, she's right. I'm old as fuck, so what are you going to do?
I still say that could have been either of us.
Yeah, fair enough. So what can you tell us about Frosthaven? I can't say anything about it. I don't know what it is. Maybe you can.
So that's something that's just making Benny sad inside. So there was a tabletop board game called Gloomhaven that was a massive Kickstarter thing a few years ago.
Yeah.
And Benny is a big fan. I was a big fan. And there was a Kickstarter that was in like 2020. They were bringing out the sequel called Frosthaven. But then pandemic happened. And then no one can actually play it. And slowly now people are starting to get it. And we got our copy like 3 weeks ago. Okay. And Benny's still waiting for his. And he's very sad that he can't be playing.
That's class. I love it. So basically, you get a chance to gloat because it's like having early access to a cool new feature, right?
Pretty much. That people have been waiting for literally 2 years as the world shut down. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe, it's good, but I'm not going to tell him anything about it, and he can just wait.
Maybe you got it first because you're one of these 13 people with this award.
There was a beacon.
The beacon.
That's what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, you sure? Maybe it's one of the benefits that comes with it,
I mean, especially because my wife ordered it, not me. So it's probably not. But yeah, no, it's basically if I'm not ranting at people about Spark and nerdy internet things, I do tend to be playing lots of tabletop games. So yeah,
fair enough. Sounds good.
It's very good.
play board games, but the board games that I tend to play are the board games that I play with like my children who are like 9 and 7. It's not 9 and 6. Sorry, get that right. So it's probably not the most interesting board games that will appear in the world.
Yeah, I think I did see you chatting to Mr. Saxton about his nerdy depths of board games, and yes, no, I've literally kind of got two like bookcases in my dining room that are just nothing but board games all the way down.
Yeah, crazy. Love it. Anyway, I do not fully understand why it's this particular live stream where apparently we're just getting hit by bots, man. I mean, seriously, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I should be like.
Hot. It's fine. I'll take that.
That's a good point, actually. Is that like an insult or a compliment? I don't know.
I'll take it as a compliment. It's fine.
In fact,
I mean, I'm old. Just a fact.
I'm starting to get jealous that I didn't say about me, to be honest. Maybe I should take it that I've arrived. Maybe my channel's got to a certain size whereby people actually recognize it, and I get people spamming me now for whatever.
Johnny did also declare it to his shitposting open season, so maybe that's it.
That's a very good point. I actually, that's a good point. Maybe that would just make that the theme of this one. Just blame Johnny.
That's fine. Yeah,
that's fair, right?
I'm pretty sure it's all just Johnny with various different alts he's got.
True.
I just assume everyone on the internet's Johnny now.
Love it. Oh god. That's a good point, actually. Board games that you can play in Power BI. You can play. Was it Minesweeper someone created in Power BI? Was it like? I know it's not a board game technically, but it's still a game.
I mean, you can build Minesweeper in many things. I built Minesweeper in SQL Server back in before I left T-SQL for the dirty world of Spark SQL.
Didn't know that.
Okay, yeah, you can just say, you plant basically you just make a giant grid and then you plant mines in it, and then it's always you pick a coordinate and it tells you what's near it. So I used to run like little code cadders, like just give people coding challenges in a language they're not really used to. It kind of forced them to think a bit more about programming and things. That was back when I was in a purist data place, and they're like, we only do data. We don't do we're not programmers. We're not developers. We're data people. I was like, no, you're programmers. Learn to program. It's fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I get it. It's a strange thing when I have a challenge with something like, I don't know, Power Query or DAX, that kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff. Because I feel comfortable enough with it, I'll think in a very different way. For example, I had a challenge, and when it was nothing so complex, it was me, with SQL a couple of weeks ago. And it was something so simple, but I approach it in a different way. And it was, if I just thought how I think when I do DAX or I would have solved it like immediately. But it was literally just change. I forget what it was. Something really like
work yourself down into a hole, and then you're like, but I've started doing it this way, so I've got to finish doing it this way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. So what you do, you start with panic, maybe cry a little bit, and then just kind of so can someone please help me because I don't know, and they're like, do this, you fool. I'm like, right.
Oh, yeah, I miss a good coding cry. So at that point at like 1 a.m. and you're like, why won't you work? And then in the morning you're like, oh, yeah. I'm really stupid.
Yeah. I hate that. I hate those moments where you're like, I can't go to bed until I finish this challenge. If not challenge, but there's this issue. And of course, the later it gets, the less likely you are to actually fix it.
It's diminishing returns, but
yeah.
But there's part of me that still enjoyed it. It's like, okay, all the meetings have stopped. Like so you put your headphones on, and then you'd be like, okay. Although there's no an embargo on me actually writing any production code, because I think people have had to clean up my horrendous code too many times.
I love it.
Well, because I ended up with like zero time because I was like dancing between so many different things, like constantly context switching. And so I'd always get like people go, right, Simon, can you help me out with a problem? And that would always just mean that they've tried a load of things. And so I only got the worst, gnarliest, nastiest problems. I never got I just need to sit back and write code for a day. I've got an all day to do it. No, I had I've got half an hour. Here's the nastiest problem we have. Can you fit? And it's like, so I got into the habit of just throw code together until it works and then go, there. And then I turn it into something tiny. You can make that nice.
I find this happens also like away from the computer, away from code and work and stuff. One of the things I encountered really when I first moved to Germany was, it's a language thing. It's just a different sort of language. People who live in Germany speak a lot better English than people who live in England
Yeah.
speak German, of course, right? So someone with really good English skills would come and say, "Oh, Ben, can you ask me what this is in English and why?" And it's just like really complex.
The why. No one in
Yeah.
England gets taught grammar. We don't know why it
That's
works.
what I
but we
keep
just know.
saying. This is what I always say. It's like I don't. It's this fact. It happens. And the best one was always like, can you explain why the future tense is you had better, because had is not future tense, but you're saying you had better, and that doesn't make any sense. Why? And I was just kind of like, I don't ask me these questions, man. You'd know better than I do.
You yell because words and then just run away. That's how all conversations end.
Exactly.
But my wife is French, and she doesn't sound French. Like, so she has like annoyingly perfectly fluent English, and can explain various grammatical rules. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that's why we said it that way around.
Yeah.
Oh.
The weirdest one is the thing when you're like there's a structure to the words of description, like a big red. It's not a red big, it's a big red. And there's a structure to that. I have no idea what it is, but I feel totally brainwashed that I know it, and I always say it in that order. And if someone says it in the wrong order, it just sounds weird. It's really strange. It really freaks me out that I know that, but also at the same time I don't know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we just have learned through osmosis the roughly the right way to assemble words until we can word good. That's about how we get through it. Fine.
I'm going to bring up this question because that's a really good question. Can Power BI run Doom?
Wasn't there a thing recently where someone? Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything can run Doom, right?
That's the thing, right? There's always like that's the lowest thing. It's like, can it run? Someone made a pregnancy test run Doom or something stupid like that. I'm sure I saw this. It was like this little tiny screen.
I mean, given
I say yes.
Given you can make a custom viz and then just write a bit of TypeScript, it can technically do anything.
Yeah. So I'm actually gonna give it a yes to that, even though I don't know, but it must be able to, because it's just yes. It doesn't depend. It just does. It can do it. Ask me to provide a link or how. I don't know. But if someone in the chat can confirm that, then yeah. But it does. It does.
I will happily say yes. Then if someone has to do it, I'll say talk to a Power BI person.
Exactly. Just not me.
And Spark run Doom. Probably.
There's a Temple of Dax game that's the first shooter is according to Johnny. So yeah. And now I said Benny. I was hoping Benny would pipe up, because that's when I said someone, I was specifically hoping.
That's the official Microsoft word on it. Is Doom is supported in Power BI. There you go.
Yeah. Official from the cat team. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and DMP would Daniel and Marsh Patrick would make it happen for sure. Yeah, just get Deneb on it. That's my go-to answer for visualizations anyway. Just get Deneb on it, to be honest. How do you feel about data visualization? Do much of it? Care much about it? Or just kind of like, there's a chart, look at it, I don't care. Next.
A little bit of Stephen Few, always within easy reach.
Love it.
Yeah, no, I was well into my data viz for a long time.
Yeah.
I've taught a lot of people how to assemble good dashboards, all about the Z reading orders, all about the clean spacing, all about the data per dot, and just all that good stuff I was into for a long, long time. And then I became a back-end data troll and just sit there with my data shovel, shoveling things around. So I care. I just don't do any of it these days.
It just means that you have a very broad knowledge. This is how you end up owning a company, right? It's like I have so much knowledge that I can spread about. I'm going to own a company, and then
it just means I'm old.
Yeah, that too.
I've seen things.
That's a recurring theme in this chat. Basically, our age, you know what I mean?
That's fair. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Get over it. As long as it's not a troll telling us and we can just admit it ourselves. You know what I mean? I think it's
old but hot. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't get the hot part. I'm gonna do.
So, hope it's all right. I'm gonna have a cheeky beer if that's quite all right.
Absolutely, go for it. This used to be my gin bottle, but now it's just my water bottle. But it's quite a pretty bottle, I thought.
Yeah.
It was
always a shame when a gin bottle's not full of gin, but.
My issue, I don't drink very often, and my issue is when I buy it, I'm not the sort of person that's like, oh, I'm going to have like a nice alcohol collection, because I'll buy it and then it'll be gone like in a couple of days. I can't, It's just it sits on the shelf and then it's gone.
We now have the opposite problem. Like we keep going, oh, that's a really nice gin. Oh, and we buy it, and it just goes in our giant pile of gins and rums and various. It's like literally you can't quite close the cupboard on our like sort of our alcohol cabinet thing. We go, right, that can go in there, and I'll just go have a glass of wine or a beer.
Maybe what I need to do instead of buying a bottle is to buy like 15 bottles. Cheers, mate. Buy like 15 bottles so I can't drink them all at once or I would die.
There we go. Yeah, that's it. You need to just make sure that you have more than your potential physical limit. That sounds like a healthy plan in life.
Exactly. My physical limit actually isn't that high these days, to be honest. Not like back in when I was 20s and it was just like did that the UK thing where you drink a lot of vodka before you go out so that you don't have to spend the money on the alcohol. And now
the old pregame.
The pregame, and even now when those words come out of my mouth, I'm just kind of like, wow, that's just a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, you do get to look back and go, I mean, so I grew up on the mean streets of Liverpool, over in the Wirral.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I cut my teeth drinking cider in golf courses, like the traditional English upbringing.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I grew up in Newcastle, Whitley Bay, but Newcastle, so pretty similar there, to be honest. Look, I found another question that I like. I'm going to bring up. Sorry, I keep interrupting you for random questions and whatnot, but it's kind of what we're here for, I suppose. I like this one. It's a good question. Is it Microsoft's responsibility to good data visualization to just remove pie charts from Power BI? So, no, but I do think sometimes that they should remove some of the visualizations from the standard visualization pane. I don't think all of those are kind of should be there by default, because it's nice to experiment. It's nice to click on things, but if at the same time you're not like actively learning stuff, you're just like putting data on visualizations, going it's there because I can. I think you're not really learning about the purpose, or what you're trying to do with the data. It's my opinion.
The depressing part is most dashboards you can kind of get away with lines, scatters, bars, and columns, and that's all you need for a lot of the basics. But you don't, because you got so many options. You're like, I'm gonna put a violin plot in there because I feel like I need one. Yeah. It's toys, fun toys to play with. But pie charts have their value. Pie charts can be useful. It's just fun to hate on them and hate on the people that use them.
Yeah, true. It's one of those things that I think within industry we kind of like focus on a lot. There's like 100,000 blog posts on pie charts, so what's good about them, and they kind of say the same thing over and over. But what they're saying isn't wrong, but it's just there, and it's, as you say, it's fun to do, and it is. And the fact that pie charts for me tend to be used by like in politics and like the worst things in the world. This like you know what I mean? Like
I love a good like newscast, like news broadcast thing, and it comes up with some data viz, and you go, God, who did that? It just hurts inside.
Yeah, it does. But then you get to laugh at it, so it's fun.
There's one that I'm hoping the AA viz people will slowly make happen, because you know Wigan kebabs.
Wigan kebabs.
Yeah,
I'm scared. Tell me.
So a Wigan kebab. So the area of Wigan is very famous for its pies. Everyone loves a pie around Wigan and St Helens. A Wigan kebab is a pie sandwich. So it's a literal short crust pastry meat pie slapped between two pieces of bread and eaten as a sandwich. It's
people just don't do that. Is it like?
Oh, they do.
Oh my
god. One of the guys, Mikey. Hi, Mikey, who works for us. We bought him a pie machine, and he makes his own Wigan kebabs fairly regularly. So, pie chart in between a bar chart, essentially a Wigan kebab in data viz style. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be the new trend. I need to make a custom viz at some point that has two like bullet charts with a pie in the middle.
Deneb. I'm gonna make that in Deneb. Line pie.
Line pie.
Oh my god.
Or line pie line. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's one of those things that you shouldn't do, but you're going to do it because you shouldn't do it, and it's just fun to do. Yeah.
Just to see the horror in people's eyes.
Now, Daniel Singh, also you worked with a guy who would have a Wigan kebab I've never heard of this. Like, it's just...
You're missing out.
Yeah, I'm learning so much about the country in which I'm from. The Uber Kebab.
It's
I
like, it's
do.
like beige on beige. It's the ultimate carb load.
It's kind of like a more extreme version of a chip sandwich, right? A chip butty, which is delicious, which I haven't had in a long time. By the way, now I want one.
They've gone down the path of terrible English things. So
Yeah.
they're talking about Buckfest in the chat. You know Bucky?
Yeah. I saw this before. Bucky, yeah. Someone mentioned it in the chat, and I can't find it anymore. Was it
So
was
it's
it
like
Johnny?
it's like caffeinated wine.
Yeah.
It's loopy juice.
Yeah. I forgot about Buckfast. I think I've had that once in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another comment. I'm so bad with the comments, man. I watch someone like Adam Saxon work, and he's just like comment, boom, boom, boom. But yeah, I can't do that. What are you gonna do? But yes, basically,
I should actually do live stream things, but most of the time I just find a weird hour of the day and do a YouTube video, and that's it. There's no regularity to when I do things.
Yeah. I got out of the habit of making a video. I really want to make. I haven't made one since like I was sick in November. I got out of the habit of it. Here it is from Jeff. That's what I want to see. You never see here pie chart haters hate him on tree maps, which is very true because tree maps are ultimate garbage.
But they're in every example that Microsoft ever does of Power BI. It always has a tree map in there.
Man. I know. I don't understand. It's like stop with the tree maps, man. It's like at least if you're going to use them, try and use it in like an appropriate way. It's just they are so bad. And it's when the squares are like basically the same size, and it's like I hate it. Yeah, I'm right there with Jeff on tree maps, to be honest. Also, what's this one with a ribbon chart? I hate ribbon charts, man.
Yeah. Well, like that's the ribbon where it goes up and down. Because the stream is the one where it's centered. It's like a centered ribbon.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so.
I mean, it's a square pie chart. It's fair.
It's actually a really good point.
It's the whole point. I mean, the reason why people hate on pies is because we can't judge approximate volume, but we can judge length. So if you see two bars next to each other, we can quite quickly say, "Well, that bar's bigger than that bar." You see two squares next to each other, they can't go, "Is that bigger than that? Is that slice of a pie bigger?" And our brains aren't good at it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it depends on how quickly you want people to understand the data, and that should be the point of a good dashboard, right? Is to glance at it and take away the right bit of info. And those kind of charts, you can't. They take thinking. You have to look at it and go, okay, I understand what that's saying, which takes away the point.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty.
This before Miguel Maya started his whole project that he's working on right now, he posted a link on LinkedIn asking people to follow the link, of course, and do this survey, this quiz about visualizations in Power BI. And I know at first it really irked Jeff, but he changed his mind. And people were saying it took far too long to fill in this questionnaire. It just took a long time to go through it all, which for me wasn't the case, because all I did is I opened it and I gave myself 10 seconds for each one. Because it's like, if I don't know in 10 seconds, then it's crap, right?
Yeah.
So I went 10 seconds, answer the question. If it was wrong, it was wrong. 10 seconds, next one. Because though I have to say I'm very, very guilty sometimes of kind of getting overexcited of data visualization and kind of creating something that's over-engineered because it's fun.
I've created a monster.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got this and it's got this, and I was like, oh my god, this visualization now has 10 things on it. So I kind of had to consciously calm myself down and kind of compromise. And I did this whole thing now of like, if at the end of the day you want a table, I'll give you a table. You can have your table. It's not the most fun thing in the world for me, but it's unfortunately not everything in my job can be about what's fun for me. So it's
most dashboards with just a giant export to Excel button, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I know you're trying to goad me there.
It's more I just know Benny's just had like sort of an aneurysm in the back. It's fine.
I used to hate that. I used to really drive me crazy that I would create something and people would be like, "Oh, how to export to Excel?" But what really helped was this functionality to link the Excel to the
so it stays connected. You're not like taking it away and then just walking off with it.
But on top of that, it was also at the end of the day, because Excel can do things that Power BI can't. If you need to do that, if it's the first thing you do, if you just don't even look at the report and like connect and then ignore, then fair enough. Then it's bit frustrating. But really, actually, it's this really nice functionality. This journey that data goes on, from its whole mess of crap at the start that you have to kind of stroke and love and make it beautiful and usable. All these steps that you do, and then you get it in Power BI to do the visualizations. Now, at the end of the day, if someone needs it in this big ass list tabular format, which is pretty good for the human brain to look at it that way in many regards, and do some kind of crazy formulas, fine, you do it. I've got more important things.
A romantic way to look at ETL, kind of stroking it, caressing it into shape. It's like, no, get a hammer out, beat it until it conforms into shape.
That depends on the data source. When I used to just connect it to basically websites that were just full of HTML crap and go through, that was the beaten and forcing it into submission. But when a lot of the messy data now, the messiest data that I really ever encountered these days tends to be from like an API. APIs are okay. It's challenged to connect Power BI to an API because of all the authorization that you need, and there's no really standard connector because there can't be a standard connector because of the different methods of connecting.
Why we slap it in a lakehouse first via tools that love a bit of JSON, and then you can make a nice endpoint that Power BI can query. It's fine.
Yeah.
But we used to like in the back end lakey thing. So visualization is so depressingly important, even if they don't use it. Because essentially it's how people judge the quality of it. And you can spend months building the most sophisticated, most well-engineered, most elegant data processing solution known to man. And if the report looks a bit shoddy on the front, people are like, I don't trust it. Don't trust the data. It's not going to be very well built. Because that is how people judge the entire thing based on the quality of that, the viewpoint at the end.
Yeah.
And we've built some crazy, amazing things. And then, the client builds their own report and then no one trusts that. And it's just like, so getting that front end right is just really crucially important to engender the trust and the quality and to get users on board to then start using the data, even if they just export it to Excel.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think generally with Power BI, people will at first not trust it by default. Yeah. Of course, depends on how often you've been using it and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, I mean, I had an example of this very recently where there was a report that had been built to exact specifications, exact calculations, and took the data. They wanted to check it, so they exported to Excel. Then they got the Excel, and they also connected to the data warehouse. The figures were wrong. They were like, why is Power BI wrong? I'm like, why is Excel wrong? Why are your figures wrong? It's that assumption immediately. I find it's not terrible. I totally understand where the people are coming from. I get the mentality, but it's frustrating that you have to deal with it so frequently and have to try to encourage people to come on board and kind of understand that it's not by default.
That's a whole cultural shift that happened ever since warehousing became a thing. Because it'd be like, my Excel's right because I can change the figure to make it right. But your report's wrong because it says the wrong figure, even if I know that's wrong. It's like, but then that's why you have to go back to the source and fix it, and then it'll flow through. And that mentality is still rife. It's like going, if you put garbage in, guess what you get out?
Yeah, true. I can remember one of my earliest encounters with like data and stuff was back when I worked in a bookies, and at the end of the day, and then the week, not at the day, sorry, you had to do your balance sheet. No, it's a weekly balance sheet. You had to do your weekly balance sheet, and notice, these numbers here and these numbers here have to balance. They have to match. That's how a balance sheet works. And I remember vividly watching someone, the balance sheet didn't match. So of course you got to look to see where the error is. This person just kept going, if I change this number, I was like, no, it's not going to work. If you change the number, it's going to just keep not balancing. That's the point of what this sheet is. And it went on for like 20 minutes. I'm like, mate, you please stop it. It's not ever going to balance. You have to understand.
I see that's just an Excel noob. Just, use GoalSeek and force it to balance.
Class. Yeah.
It's not the right answer, kids.
No. Don't do it unless you want to do it for a long time. Yeah, but it's sometimes frustrating, but it's the frustration is part of the fun, I think. Maybe somehow. Yeah. It gives you a story to tell.
Yeah, it keeps us entertained. If no one had any data problems and if all the data was perfect, then we wouldn't have a job.
Yeah. And if you finished a day's work or a week's work and it was like, oh, how was your week? And it was like, It was nice. That's boring. What you want is something that, you know, is actually you can talk about and it's infuriating and it's a shared experience because everyone's like, yeah, okay, I've experienced this, and you talk about it, and this is.
That's it. You know, even though kind of I've not written any code today, not written any code this week, but I'm still fueled by the rage of decades. Will keep me going for many years. Just the anger of the past. It's fine.
Love it. Rishi has a question. I'm going to pop it up. Sorry, Rishi, I missed that. I was talking about random stuff, as I tend to do. At Simon, of course. In your view, what's the best way for a Power BI person to learn Spark, Delta Lake, just enough for them to use it? How much Python do you need for? Oh, how come I around that word?
I mean, obviously, there's a fantastic Spark Fundamentals course now available from Advancing Analytics. We're failing that. I mean, so you don't need to know Python or PySpark to use Spark. You can write SQL. And it's Spark SQL, which is a bit more like MySQL. So it's slightly different to T-SQL, but it's almost the same, anti-standard if you're in the SQL endpoint. Things like, instead of doing square brackets, if your column has a space, you do backticks around it. Instead of writing select top 10, you do select blah, 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 limit 10. There's one or two syntactical changes. Otherwise, it's just SQL. So if you're trying to query, if you're coming, trying to wrangle data from various different tables into a data set, yeah, you can just write SQL. You don't need to know it. How much PySpark do you need to actually, build lakes and lake houses and stuff? Technically, you don't need to do it at all. You can just write SQL and say select from, insert into table, and have it all entirely SQL. For me, that misses the point. Because SQL's hard coded essentially. If I write something that says select some data from this table, clean it, and write it to that table, that SQL script can do that one job. It can move data from that one table to that one table, applying those rules. And that means for every single table that you've got in every single step, you have to handwrite that SQL. And there's loads of automation tools and code generators and DBT and all those things, which essentially you turn a crank and it writes SQL for you. So you can kind of get over that hump. Everything we do in, kind of data engineering is essentially going, I want to write one Python script or PySpark script, and I want to just feed that parameters. So that one script, I can use it to do any generic job. Read something, transform something, write something, and I'll tell you at runtime the config you need to do, and I'll call that same one script 1,000 times in parallel, and I can clean 1,000 tables into 1,000 destination tables. And if you're getting into engineering, yeah, you need to know a programming language, because SQL's not a programming language. And I know that's going to upset a lot of people, but it's not. It's a querying language. It's in the name. Yeah. So to use Spark, you don't need to know it. But to get into data engineering and build flexible pipelines that are agile and, improving DevOps and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you need to know a little bit of Python or a little bit of Scala.
Okay. That's a very good tip. A very thorough answer. Thank you so much. It sounds like you know what you're talking about. Who knew?
It just sounds like it.
It's not about knowledge. It's about the illusion of knowledge. Right.
Exactly. I am my own Power BI front-end report. As long as it looks shiny and good, sounds about right, people trust what it says.
That's where we come back to again. Old but hot. The hot hides the old.
See, the old makes it trustworthy. That's how it works.
Right.
Every morning, I just carefully dye my hair grey so people will trust me.
Oh, love it. That's fantastic. Cool. Oh, mate, that was a lot of fun. I always end up saying this at this part of the chat, that I always say it's 45. I'll have to stop telling people it's 45 minutes because it's literally never, ever 45 minutes. Ours was expanded a little bit by kind of dealing with a person who was just generally insulting us, for which I apologize. That doesn't usually happen. That's not why I invite people to come on, to be like abused by some random person on the internet. You know what I mean? If you're going to be randomly abused on the internet, it's not difficult to do, to be honest. Just go on Twitter or something.
I know, it's not my first time on the internet.
Really? I'm so...
It's like opening this wide world, connecting, plugging it in for the first time and going, what is this thing?
One of the things I hate most about Twitter, and it never happened to me because I stay very much inside this bubble of tech Power BI. If you just go outside it sometimes and just read people's tweet and then people's response, it's the fact that people are just like hardwired to be as aggressive as possible, as immediately as possible. Like the assumption that anyone's answer was meant to be argumentative and nasty, and the original tweet can be something so nice and so positive, and the next person says something, and the next person down is just kind of absolutely having a go at them. It's like, what happened?
It's not to 100. There's no nice nuanced response. You've only got a short number of characters. You need to go all in.
Yeah, and because of that, when two people are trying to be nice to each other, it really amuses me how nice they are. They say like, "Oh, mate, with due respect," and I thank you so much. I appreciate it. They have to overdo it just so they know they're being nice, because the assumption is that everyone's being an asshole all of the time. Weird.
I mean, it's normally a fair assumption that I am being sarcastic.
Yeah, yeah, I get that as well.
But I've certainly been kicking various hornets' nests by saying things like data vaults don't belong in a lake, and that got lots of people really angry.
Yeah.
I got lots of essays, lots of people going, I see your point, but
yeah,
and it's fair. It's topics people are passionate about. They want to.
Do you respond to them or just let it go? Because it's a strange place to have a conversation in the comments, isn't it? Like in YouTube comments.
True. But yeah, no. I mean, if it's a fair comment, I see it, and I'm not just running around crazily somewhere else, then yeah, I'll respond and kind of just happy, because discourse is fine. Yeah. And discussing things and going, oh, that's a good point. What about that? Have you thought about that? That's absolutely fine. But obviously, it's someone going, your face is stupid and you're wrong. It's like, I mean, I can't disagree.
Thank you. Like, can you expand on that, please?
Please list all the ways in which my face is bad.
My ego is too big. I need to be taken down a peg or two.
I mean, that's probably fair. But luckily, I've got lots of people who work with us who do that all day.
Well, take you down a peg or two?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So lovely.
They're all lovely.
Of course they are. See, such an advert for yourself and your company. And your course, of course.
Oh, yes. Which hasn't been made. Largely been other people mentioned in the course, which is very nice of it.
That's true. See, that's how highly they think of you and your work. Anyway, mate, I want to say thank you very much for joining tonight. Yes, it's you're in England, so it has been tonight. And thank you, everyone who asked all the questions. And thank you, less of the people who just verbally abused us. What are you going to do? And
I mean, not old but hard. That's going on my tombstone. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, I gotta say, all the other ones, at first I was like, is that a normal comment? It's like, oh no, it's just called me an asshole. And then someone else starts, and then you get an old but hot. I'm actually just so jealous of that. Yeah.
I get it. Still think it's all Johnny.
They could have been ambiguous, but they actually added you and said it was you. So I can't say I might have been talking about me. It's like, no, it was definitely Simon. Absolutely heartbroken.
Oh,
when I finish this streams, my wife always asks me how it goes. It's going to be an interesting conversation. It's like, well,
wiping away the tears. There'll be another empty gin bottle. It'll be fine.
Exactly. It's like, hold on a second. Maybe it's my wife who's doing all those comments. I'll check.
She's there just guiltily hiding away the laptop. It'll be fine.
Thank you, Jeff. See, it means so much to me.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm my favorite ass. I like it a lot. I think for this chat, I'm not going to be able to switch on monetization.
Is it like, yeah, I always think about that, kind of publishing the YouTube, and it's like, does this have controversial topics? I'm like,
it's like, yes, according to who? That's the question, right? Oh gosh, no, I think normally I'm okay, but I think with this one, that be said, I'm not sure. Like with my YouTube stuff, is obviously a very small channel. It's good fun. However, I had a laugh recently. I had to do all this stuff for to continue monetization. You've got to fill in these form and confirm your address and this US tax form stuff. And I'm like, dude,
yeah, I'm a big fan of the W8 Benny. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the same one, right? I was like, did they name it after me? And I was like, you know what? This is all for the sake of €14 since October last year. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's bizarre. I was just like, if you wait until I got to €500, which is going to be in 3 years from now, maybe a bit more, then that's fine. But when I'm filling out all this stuff, when I'm waiting for a letter from Google, which takes 3 weeks to arrive, it's like, surely this is costing you more money than you're actually going to get from you, man.
It is.
The postage alone.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Again, one day, guy in the cube leagues, rakes of money
yeah.
just being shoveled at you from Google.
Exactly.
Not there yet.
Love it. Anyway, I keep on rambling. Thank you everyone for joining. Of course, Sam, it was an absolute pleasure, and I would like to, do it again some point in the future when I know more about these topics, which you know more about. I can understand a high percentage of the words that you say, and yeah, it was good fun. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks, Simon. Goodbye.